Welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. The date is April 17, 2022. You guys can't see it, but beside me, there's a very curious kitten. Aslan is up here, standing on the kitchen counter, right by my side, trying to see what kind of mischief he can get into. So if you guys suddenly hear some kind of crashing, smashing noises in the middle of the video, don't be alarmed, that's probably Aslan breaking something. So yesterday I was reading an interesting article regarding to uh, how couples argue, different things that can occur, different style of arguing and different style of fighting that can happen between people, not just couples, but between people. Um, and that kind of brought to mind something that I have experienced before. This was back in 2009, 2010, so quite a while ago. I remember getting a call from one of my good friends' uh, girlfriend at the time, and she was in tears and she's and she was very distraught. And I said, "What happened?" And she said she was in the hospital. And I said, "Well, what happened?" And she said she and my friend, well, I just call him George. I don't want to give him the real name. He's, it seems like whenever I need to name something, I use the name George, doesn't I? Anyway, George, good name to slap on something, somebody. I name everything George: plants, animals, furniture, people. So this this girl said George and I had a fight. I said, well, why are you in the hospital? And she said, George pushed me down. George injured me. Now, this was a big shock to me, uh, both on a personal morale level and both on a wow, did my good friend do that kind of level. I felt betrayed. On the one hand, I have vowed from a very early age, very early age, I think I was like 13, when I vowed that I would never hit a woman in anger. Now, I specify the in anger part because in my line of work, in martial art, in teaching self-defense, sometimes, uh, you know, I if a lady step onto the mat to challenge me to spar, then I end up having to hit her. But that's all in a friendly fun and game. That's in training. So even so, even that makes me very uncomfortable. But I vowed at an early age I will never hit a woman out of anger. And so far, I'm 40 years old, and I have not broken that vow yet. Came close a few times, I will admit, because sometimes women can be very trying. Just saying. Um, so to me, that's one of my personal taboo. Like someone hitting, a man hitting a woman, that's a big taboo to me. That's a big no-no. And then to hear that my good friend George, whom I thought we share all the same values and same morality and same moral compass, uh, would injure his girlfriend as she ended up in the hospital. It was unthinkable for me. And I said, are you telling me that Are you telling me that George hit you? And she said, he pushed me down. He pushed me down to the floor and he hurt me. I was filled with this righteous anger, and I said, I told her, I said, I'm going to call George. I'm going to tell him to come see me, and we are going to deal with this. I called George, and he came over. On his way over, I will say I was feeling very conflicted. I didn't know how I was supposed to approach this. On the one hand, is my instinct to be protective toward the female. On the other hand, this is my good friend for many years. How was I supposed to breach this? So when George came, things were very tense, very awkward, and I said to him, I said, I want you to answer me honestly and carefully. Did you and your girlfriend have a fight? He said yes. I said, is she in the hospital? And he said, yeah. I said, did you hurt her? And that's when the truth came out. This is really the biggest takeaway of today's video. Is sometimes you need to double check your story because it's not how she portrayed the fact to be. Uh, I heard her story, I heard his story, and then later I double checked with her. I said, hey, I talked to George. He said this is actually what happened. It's different from what you told me. Um, so can you enlighten me on what's going on? And she confirmed that his story was actually the true one. Her story was more exaggerated, although she maintained that she didn't lie to me. She just neglected to uh, to mention a few facts. So this was what actually happened. George and girlfriend had a really big fight. Over what is not important. They had a really, really big fight. One of those rows that things was going to turn violent at any moment. Like words were flying, cusses and swear words were flying, accusations were made, very hurtful things were being said on both sides. Finally, George had enough of it, and he knew that by staying, there's no way they were going to sort through this. All it was going to accomplish, they were going to continue to damage each other with words, and maybe things are going to get thrown, and things are going to get out of hand. So George stood up and tried to exit the house. Uh, his girlfriend would have none of it. She jumped in the doorway and spread herself arm and leg across the doorway, wouldn't let him leave, continued to scream at him using very abusive language. In the desperation, George physically picked her up and set her aside. Uh, and this was where things went wrong. When he put her down, she tried to hold on to him, but he was trying to rush out the door. So she tripped and fell down. And when she fell down, she broke one of the glasswares on the table and cut herself really badly. That's how she ended up in the hospital. What we are seeing here, what we just heard here, is a very classic case of distancer and pursuer in a conflict. If you ever dealt with cats or animals in general before, you will see the same pattern in animals. AKA, you are trying to do something with the animal, maybe give it a bath, or trying to get it into a cage, or maybe you are just trying to force the animal to cuddle. And the animal is trying to squirm and trying to get away and trying to struggle, but because you are so much bigger, you keep holding on to the animal, and suddenly, seemingly without reason, the animal lashes out and hurts you really badly. What's going on here? Because as animal, and we human beings were definitely still animal, all animals have a built-in central nervous system. This central nervous system gets stimulated by chemicals from your brain, by chemicals from your inside, from your stomach, from your bloodstream, by senses from outside, things smell, things taste, uh, things that touch. Sometimes this central nervous system get overstimulated, such as when someone pin you down and start tickling you and wouldn't let you go, or when someone start playing really loud music and wouldn't stop, and you have nowhere to go, you can't get away from it. That central nervous system get overwhelmed, and there's a built-in programming in all animals that when that central nervous system get overstimulated, it triggers the fight or flight instinct. Now, because we are supposed to be the more civilized creatures, we know that hitting people is wrong. We know that breaking furniture is not good. So our tendency tend to be flight when we start to get overstimulated. Uh, for example, when someone start tickling you, someone pin you down and start tickling you, you're going to flail around and kick and scratch, but for the most part, you are trying to get away. You don't just reach out and break that person's neck because you know it's wrong. But what if you can't get away? Well, then sometimes you end up doing something very drastic, like hurting the person quite badly, just so they would let go of you. When we get into an argument, sometimes it's important to pay attention to your partner's body language, to their tone of voice. Usually, as soon as they start to raise their voice, usually when they start to uh, make a fist, ball their hand into fist, when they start to tug at their hair, those are signs that their nervous system is starting to get overstimulated. This is the time to pull away, keep away. This is the time to let them go. Uh, in the case of my friend George, he realized that he was this close to being pushed over the edge. He was really overstimulated with anger. Don't forget, anger, adrenaline, all that stuff. They're all chemicals released by your brain. Okay, they all stimulate the central nervous system. He decided to go with a flight instinct. He decided to withdraw, but she blocked him in the doorway. And this is something that I've heard happen many times during my work, working with couples, working with individuals, either abusers or the abused. A lot of time, abusive situation happen when you block the person's way out, when you don't let them go. Uh, the pursuer, there's always going to be uh, some people in a relationship that pursues that they don't want to let it go. They don't want to let the matter drop. You tell them, hey, I'm getting very angry. We need to talk about this later. They won't listen to you. They don't let go of it. They'll push and push and push until you do something uh like physically manhandle them, put them out of your path, and then they fall down and break. something are made of glass and cut themselves really bad, and then they go and accuse you of abusing them. Many, many times it's something like this. So next time, next time when you get into a conflict with somebody, maybe it is a good idea to take a step back and always leave an opening. So when you feel overstimulated, when you feel threatened, when you feel that you're on the verge of losing control, or when that person is feeling overstimulated, when that person is feeling like they're going to lose control, there's a clear way out. So abusive behaviors, abusive uh, things can be prevented from happening. I hope that this little bit of relationship advice ramble is helpful to somebody out there. We'll be back again tomorrow for some Music Monday with Johnny Tiger. For now, have a good night.